One railway track, 415 kilometers of horror, and over 100,000 souls lost. The true story of how a single construction project became a death sentence. In 1942, deep in the dense jungles between Thailand and Burma, began one of history's most horrific construction projects. The Japanese Imperial Army, desperate to secure a supply route to support their Burma campaign, embarked on what seemed impossible, building a railway through unforgiving terrain in just 1 year. What the world doesn't know is the grotesque detail of how this railway earned its name. Every kilometer of track laid claimed 393 lives. The Japanese guards had a saying, "Life is cheap, get on with it." They weren't just words, they were a chilling reality. The prisoners were forced to work 18-hour shifts, even during monsoon seasons. When sleep-deprived workers would collapse, they weren't merely beaten. They were forced to stand holding heavy rocks above their heads until they passed out. Those who survived tell of watching their fellow prisoners being buried alive in the railway embankments if they were too weak to work. The Japanese engineers had a brutal efficiency system. Each prisoner was expected to dig 3 cubic meters of soil daily. Those who failed disappeared in the night. But here's the terrifying part. The soil wasn't just earth. It was limestone rock that had to be cut by hand with primitive tools. Disease ravaged the camps, but it wasn't just cholera or malaria. A horrifying condition called rice water diarrhea emerged, where victims would lose up to 20 liters of body fluid daily. Medical supplies were withheld as punishment, and doctors among the prisoners were forced to perform surgeries with sharpened spoons and sewing needles. The bridge over the River Kwai, made famous by the Hollywood film, hides a darker secret. Beneath its spans lie the bodies of countless workers who were quite literally worked to death. When exhausted prisoners fell from the bridge's heights, work continued around their bodies. Perhaps the most chilling aspect was the speedo period. In 1943, as construction fell behind schedule, the Japanese commanders implemented a horrifying acceleration program. Workers were forced to continue through the night under torchlight. The sounds of hammering mixed with screams became a nightly symphony of terror. The trains that eventually ran on these tracks had their own gruesome story. The wooden sleepers beneath the rails would often seep red during rainy seasons. The blood of those who died building it had seeped into the wood, creating a lasting memorial to their suffering. When the railway was completed, the Japanese celebrated their engineering feat. But they had built more than a railway. They had constructed a 415-kilometer graveyard, where every sleeper, every rail, and every bridge stood as a testament to human suffering on an unimaginable scale. The Death Railway wasn't just a wartime construction project. It was a systematic exercise in human destruction, where the value of life was measured in meters of track laid, and death was just another construction material.